Right, welcome everyone to the Love Island Cast USA. I am one of your hosts, Chris Phelps, and my co-host and very good friend is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris. Here we are again, raring to go with this new series.
Yep, it's come from nowhere, Dave. We've been requested by our loyal fans and followers to review and watch Love Island USA, and as an absolute whore of reality stuff, I was all for it. And Dave, you weren't. But we've watched the first episode, and you are all in, my friend, I think.
Well, I mean, just in case someone is joining us, just a little bit about where we've come from and why we've set up this podcast. We initially set up with the Love Island UK podcast, and the intent was that Chris had been watching this for years and absolutely loves it, and I had never been into it at all. And so even though I was a little bit apprehensive at the start, I think, because, you know, I kind of only like to be in one relationship. I've got a relationship at the moment with all the characters in the UK villa, or even though it's in Spain, they're all from the UK. I've watched episode 1 and I'm absolutely all in, you're right.
Nobody would have predicted that about 4 or 5 weeks ago, Dave.
In fact, I've got to say, even about halfway through, I'm just like, you know, because you've built up a relationship with these other characters and you're like, oh, all these new people, I don't know anything about them. And so we're going through the coupling and then I'm gradually getting more and more sucked in. And by the end of it, I'm like, oh no, you know, I have to wait till tomorrow now.
and just to clarify with everyone as well, is we are going to be doing the Love Island USA on the same podcast catching URL that you do listen to the UK one. They will be numbered and the description will say USA on it. So don't worry, guys, we haven't gone somewhere else. Everything is under that, and the normal Love Island social media and email address remains. So if you do follow us on Twitter, that's going to say the same. If you don't, we are at Love Island Cast on Twitter. And if you want to email a show, it's theloveislandcast@gmail.com, and get those emails fired in. And again, if you do like the show and you do listen to both, then get over to your podcast catcher and drop us a 5-star review. And we do appreciate any reviews, good or bad. It just helps us get out there and gets us within them algorithms on the podcasting world. So, Dave, fantastic new Love Island show. Where do we start, my friend? Because I absolutely love this USA first episode.
Yeah, it was really good. And I guess the difference for me this time is I knew what was coming, exactly the same format as the UK one. And, you know, where you have the girls, we meet the girls initially, we see and learn a little bit about them. And then we have, you know, one guy at a time come up and that awkward moment. So once we've met all the girls, the first guy to step forward was Cashel. And I always put myself in this position because I'm pretty sure it'd be me, because everyone is absolutely stunning, aren't they? The blokes and the women, and no one steps forward for him. So, you know, just absolutely brilliant. He ends up coupling up with Kyra there. But, you know, she didn't really give him anything to go off initially there. Yeah, I mean, what did you make to it, that whole first coupling up?
Well, as a veteran of Love Island, watching it from the start, same format. I've got to say, Dave, you know that myself and you, I'm a massive fan of America. Vegas, everything, New York. I love America. I love the big brash boldness of the whole country. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's just growing up watching the movies and that. I've always wanted to live there. And you know, the UK one is in Mallorca. They probably got sent over on Ryanair or EasyJet, Dave. USA one, they've gone to Fiji in this absolutely amazing setting, absolutely fantastic beachfront villa. And yeah, you know, so I'll give a quick rundown of the girls. So we've got Caro, Alexandra, Mallory, Alana, and Elizabeth. And they're all lined up, same format as the UK. And unfortunately, Cashel comes in, the cool drummer. Obviously got an Instagram following. It shows a lot of pictures from his social media. Cool guy, got the old designer beard going on there, just nice and cropped. 6-pack, looks the business. Didn't get a fucking sniff, Dave. And I've got to say, the American girls, to be fair, are very, very honest, because straight away, I think it was Caro said, I don't like facial hair. And
I think she was saying he looked a bit shy. It was Elizabeth.
Sorry, you are correct. Yeah. Elizabeth said it. And a couple of the comments were very, very honest. And in the UK one, in the UK, we are quite upfront, but the difference was telling. The only thing that's a bit distracting at the moment is the voiceover guy they've got. He's very much trying to be Ian Sterling. And he's just got that sort of Pee Wee Herman type voice at the moment when he's trying to crack a few jokes, but they're not really hitting home. Hopefully, he comes into his own as we go on. And we've got a presenter called Ariel, who's an attractive girl. I don't really know much about her. They had a bit of a VT where she's sort of pretending to be sexy in the sea and then sort of collapses and gets a lot of sand in her face within the sea. So sort of playing on herself. I might say.
I missed that bit.
That's for the unseen one, Dave.
Yeah. Unseen bits on Friday or Saturday.
You may get more views if that was on Dave. But anyway, moving
it's later on that one, isn't it? It's like Baywatch Nights, that is.
Yes, it is. Right, anyway, David, let's move on. So, Cashel ends up picking Caro because she did say, as you were correct, that he was quite shy. They were talking, high-fiving, stuff like that, which is great. The next guy in was Yeman. Now, I've got to say, with every single person, bar one of them, and we'll get to him towards the end because he was the last guy to come in, it's a difference between the US and the UK ones. Everyone on the UK just gets their arse or gets the biceps out for money. The Americans have got proper jobs. So just to run down, I'm not going to take word by word, but we've got a beauty publicist, we've got equity analyst, we've got someone who works in advertising and real estate, we've got a photographer, we have got a grocery worker, which was Zach, but they've all got proper jobs or careers, or so they say they have. Like the UK one, they're just fucking tin pot anything, aren't they? They're just not. Obviously, the UK, we don't like working, Dave. So big difference. They all
I think that's a little bit unfair, isn't it? We've got in the UK, we've got the pharmacists, we've got the firemen. I think it was as they introduced more and more people, it seemed to be like, oh, Danny, he's a model. Arabella, she's a model. Jordan, he's a model. Tom. Yeah. He's a model. And it's like, oh, come on, just give us some normal people. So I agree. I think, it's great that these people, it's only Michael who is a model. And by God, he's a tasty dish. I mean, I stepped forward for him. Until I realised I was just at home on my own. And but he is a tasty, tasty dish. Yeah. So he absolutely should be a model. And, you could see later in the show, couldn't you? He's saying to Zach, you should absolutely be a model in. And I think he should. He's got that bone structure. But, it is good. But, let's see, because I think as more people come in, you may see more models coming in later on.
Yeah, I think you will. So we get paired up. You are correct. He is a good-looking guy, Dave. And I think all the girls, he had 3 of them jump forward for him. Zach had 2 girls jump forward for him, didn't he? The second guy in was Yemen. Now, he was the farmer once. Oh, no, sorry. No, that was Weston. Weston was the farmer, but he said he was a photographer. Again, all the lads are just specimens, aren't they, Dave? They've not... some of them are proper buff, and they are. There's not one of them, and the girls are the same. They all look like models. Really good-looking people. So he sets it up really nice. And I love the fact that Cashel got the most sort of rejection. But as the episode went on, he was the one all the girls wanted to be around, didn't he, Dave? Like Caro, who he was coupled up with, she wasn't interested. Yeah, well, for that first night, she was going crazy for the fact that he was breathing on her neck. They were cuddling, spooning. The next day, they're cuddling each other. They looked like a really good couple together. He was absolutely in love with her hair and that. He said she's really a good-looking girl and perfect start to Love Island. But, Dave, we did get a late entry from the girls as they were doing after they'd done the recoupling, didn't we? We had what was her name? She was from New York. She was from Kyra from Harlem. And she did come in to stir up the trouble, Dave. And there was the connection there with Cashel and a couple of the other guys. And that was basically the story for this first episode after recoupling, wasn't it, about who she was going to pick to recouple up with.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Kyra seemed to do a bit of a 180, didn't she? She wasn't really that interested. She stepped forward for almost all the other blokes. And kept saying, sorry about that. Oh, here's another one. Sorry about that. But so she was not all into it at all. And then, in those early conversations with the girls, she's saying like, it's kind of all right, but he's just like having a good friend there. I think there's something to be said with just physical contact. This tactic that they have on this show, just making the couples like stay in the same bed. I think you could see they were closer than anyone else, and you could see she was whispering that, I do love a kiss on the forehead. It's like, right, I'll give you another one then. So it seemed to be after that. And then she's like, suddenly she's all in, and she's starting to panic then about Kyra getting, a bit closer, and she's got to pick someone else for the recoupling, and she's hoping it's not Cashel, but I kind of think that's the way it's going to go. But I mean, Cashel just seems like a really nice guy, doesn't he? But he'd been open-ish, so he'd gone to Caro to say, Kyra came over and talked to me. That's not quite what I saw. I saw it seemed to be the other way, where Cashel went over to her and said, can we have a chat a little bit later on? So he'd initiated that. So he'd spun that a little bit, I think. But I think he is going to get chosen by Kyra. I think, there might be some early tears here. It's only like day 1 and day 2, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's a very good point, because Cashel and Kyra, because he liked her, she didn't, initially she said she didn't like him, and they made a bit of a pact, didn't they? Like, you want to talk to someone, you talk to someone. You want to flirt with someone, you flirt with someone. Yeah, give it a couple of hours. You can tell, Dave, that was not going to happen. And that's exactly, I just think I think what the problem is, she has a type, he has a type in his head. But you were so right. That bond that two people have when they're so close together, it's inevitable. There's going to be feelings, even if you're friends or whatever. But I think it's just a defense mechanism with anybody. Like, you're not taking him off me. Well, look, you didn't even want him. Well, actually, I was with him. There was that sort of reaction, like she didn't want him. A bit like Molly May on the UK version with Lucy. Yeah. So that she was not asked about Tommy one bit. She was an absolute cold-hearted bitch until Lucy was trying to dip her bread in, tell him nothing. Let's go see what you could have won, Dave. It was a speedboat. But anyway, but genuinely, that's what happened. And I think there wasn't that chasing from Cashel, but there was just enough there to say to her, actually, this is my guy. And I love that because that is going to end in tears. The way they set it up, I mean, it's set up to be Cashel, Dave. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not him, but the way it's going, it looks like Kyra's going to absolutely just turn everything upside down, and there's going to be an absolute catfight, I think.
Yeah, probably. And part of me thinks, what a horrible situation to be in. And I'm like, yeah, but that's why we love it as well. Yeah. So that's why we watch the show. She's, by design, she's thrown in there to stir things up. You've got 6 girls and 5 guys. Someone's going to end up without a boyfriend in the recoupling. So, I mean, anything else catch your eye?
Not really. I think Michael's going to be the one who may flip-flop from different people to start with. He had a lot of the girls' attention. I'm not sure. I think the only one who and I think to be fair, Yaman actually said that. So when Yaman gets with Alana and she does say, I've never had a boyfriend, I'm 21, I've had situations of such, didn't she? Like I've been with guys, but I've never actually been in a relationship. And she announced it to sort of all the girls.
Did she say something like a situationship or something like that?
Yeah, I was trying to think of the word, but it was something really bizarre. And I watch a lot of the American reality stuff. I've never heard the way she said it was very bizarre, but she said something along them lines. He then said when they were in bed that night, and everyone was like, a couple already. But he then looked and went, she'd never had a relationship. He said, usually you'd be like, But I'm sort of thinking, as if to say, what the fuck?
Works really well on a podcast, though.
Yeah, no, he does, yeah. I had my finger over my mouth, Dave, like he did. It was terrible, everyone. But genuinely, he's basically saying, what the fuck is this? Something not right with this girl. So already we're getting little snippets there that I don't think he's completely happy with his coupling up. But she was the girl who stepped forward for him. He was a gentleman. They both seem really nice at the moment. I have no reason to believe there's anything wrong with her, but he has got that little seed in his head to say, why has she never been in a relationship?
Well, I think he's probably got a bigger seed in his head after Kyra told him that her first sexual experience was with a girl.
Dave, again, that is for the late night version of
You don't see, though, he just leaped out of his chair. And
yeah, he did.
I think that's the great thing, I think, as we go through and we watch this, because I think that just part of the American culture, it's just a bit more expressive, a bit more open. You know, we're probably a bit more reserved in the UK, aren't we? So we'd probably say, oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know, and that will be it. Whereas he's like up and he's like, whoa, you know. I'm not sure how much I buy that, to be honest, Chris. I think we've seen something similar in the UK one, haven't we? Where, you know, the girls will just throw that out. Oh yeah, I've been with a woman and this, that, and the other. And it's just like, you know, to get the guys' pulses racing, I think sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
I don't know about the guys in the villa, but mine was. Well, anyway.
So, I mean, I think that would probably end it there. What a great first episode of the Love Island Cast USA. As I mentioned before, if you want to contact us on Twitter at Love Island Cast, or if you want to email us, theloveislandcast@gmail.com. This one doesn't run, the Love Island USA does not run as long as the UK one. The UK one runs for 2 months, so we are like 3 weeks from the end of that. The US one's a month, Dave, so we everyone out there. So we're going to keep on going, keep doing it, keep feeding back to us, get watching guys out there. And, you know, we just absolutely enjoy this. I absolutely love it. So, Dave, again, thank you for getting on board with this new podcast and project that we both love, and you love it more than me now, my friend. So have you got anything to throw out there before we go?
Well, I am going to say, because we saw old Weston, he is a Dallas country boy there, isn't he? So he came out in what looked like to me longer Apollo Creed Stars and Stripes shorts. So I'm going to say, here we go at the end of our first show. Ding.